Peacock. As always, I welcome you all to the after-market analysis session at 5 p.m. every evening. This is the after-market analysis session for Nifty and Bank Nifty of the Indian market, where after the market closes, we look at what happened today in the order flow. We try to read the footprint a bit more thoroughly and see where the buyers entered on the footprint, where the sellers entered, and how everything unfolded. So if you are new, want to learn order flow, want to learn how to read the footprint properly, and also want to learn how to use GoCharting effectively, then you can join this daily live webinar at 5 p.m. in the evening. You will get the link to this live webinar on GoCharting's Discord and Telegram community before 5 p.m. in the evening. Also, if you are using GoCharting at that particular time, you can access the link from here as well by clicking on the webinar option at the top right corner. In any case, if you miss this live webinar, you can also watch its recording on GoCharting's YouTube channel. Okay, before we read the footprint, let's take a look at the volume profile once to see what confirmation the volume profile gave yesterday. Yesterday, the market was completely sideways. What do we do here, you know? First, we look at the confirmation from the volume profile, we check the nodes of the volume profiles, and then on those same nodes of the volume profiles, we take confirmation from the footprint. Alright, it's simple. We look at the levels around the nodes of the volume profiles, and then we take confirmation from the footprint. Yesterday, Nifty was completely sideways. It stayed within just 50 to 60 or 80 points the whole day, so its volume node will also form at just one place. So this was the volume node for Nifty yesterday, okay. We had marked this volume node. The VPOC zone was also the same, and the volume node was also here because it was sideways. In any case, if Nifty had broken yesterday's VPOC zone, then the previous day's VPOC zone volume node was here for us. This one, right, we had marked this. This is the value area, this is the value area low, and if this also breaks, then we have the consolidation volume profile nodes. So simple. Yesterday's and the previous day's volume profile is enough for today's market, okay. Now, based on the confirmation from these same volume profiles, we look at the confirmation from the footprint to see where and how the buyers came in today and how the sellers came in, okay. Just give me 1 minute. Before you can read the footprint properly, you should know what delta is, because every day we read the footprint with the help of delta, okay. We try to read the footprint with the help of delta. Now, what exactly is this delta? Let's understand delta for once. Like this is the first candle of 5 minutes and these are its footprints, this one, okay. On the right side, we have buyers. On the left side, we have sellers. The buyers on the right side have been added on. Suppose the total here comes out to be anything, say 1 lakh. We are just taking an assumed number, the process is the same, and then the sellers on the left side come out to be 1,45,000, okay. Subtract these two. Now what do we get when we subtract both? Minus 45,000, because the sellers are more, right? So, in the same way, it showed this value here. This is how delta works. This is the delta of a candle, okay, the delta of every candle. Now, whenever there are more sellers, we see that value in the negative. So, we call this negative delta. Negative delta is equal to sellers. And just like we picked this candle. Now, the value of this candle does not have a negative sign in front of it, right? So that means this is positive delta, and positive delta means buyers. Like in this first candle, there were more sellers, and in this candle, there are more buyers. It's as simple as that, okay. Now we have understood. Pick any candle, like we picked this candle. We looked at the delta of this candle and immediately told who is more powerful in this candle, who is more powerful, how much more powerful are the buyers, meaning what is the difference between buyers and sellers? There are 25,000 more buyers. All right, assume that there are 1 lakh sellers and 1 lakh 25,000 buyers, like that, okay. Okay, right now, you must be seeing two types of delta. What do you mean by two types? Some candles are such that their value is very low, just 3000, just 3000, just 2000, just 1600, and just 600. Now let's talk about both types of delta together. And some candles have a very heavy delta, like look at this 47,000, 45,000, okay, 32,000, 25,000. So, the candles which have a heavy delta, it's possible that there was heavy buying or selling inside those candles, and the candles with a lower delta probably had less buying or selling. So, what do we do here? We follow the candles that have a higher delta. I will also show you how and explain why we follow them. Because those candles have a lot of buyers and sellers inside them. Okay? Alright, so now what will we do? How will we read the footprints? First of all, we will pick those candles which have a heavy delta. For example, the first candle has a pretty heavy delta of 45,000, and on which side is this delta? On the negative side, it's a negative delta, which means there are a lot of powerful sellers in the first candle. You will jump on the footprints of the same foot, the same candle. Which side is the seller's side? The left-hand side, okay. Who is more powerful? Since it's the sellers, we'll go to the seller's side, the left side, and look for the spot where the most selling has happened. 49k, 43k, and 20k, just go through it once from the seller's side. The highest selling order is 49k, and which value is closest to this 49k? It's 43k. So, these are the two spots where the most selling has happened. Okay, so we've marked this selling, but yesterday's opposition zone was also below. The opposition zone is right here. No problem. Next candle, even in the next candle, the highest selling has happened at the same spot, 34k. But look at this candle. The selling has happened inside this candle, but this candle has broken all the selling zones of the first and second candles, so we'll also break them. What happened in this candle? The biggest selling so far happened here, a delta of 47k was seen, and at which spot? Where the highest selling took place. This is that spot, 48k and 18k. This is the place where the highest selling happened inside this candle. Sellers tried to break yesterday's opposition zone, the volume node, at least once. What confirmation did the next candle give? There was some light selling, and then, now look here. How much was the negative delta? 38,000. That means, at one point inside this candle, there were 38,000 more sellers, but by the time it closed, the delta turned positive by 10k. So, there was selling here, there was selling here, and then again, aggressive buyers stepped in within this candle, right? And all the selling zones, like, which was the biggest selling zone of the day? It was in this first candle. Every day, you'll see the most buying and selling in the first candle. This was the candle with the highest selling. The resistance zone was broken. This was the spot where sellers entered again. The sellers tried to push further by selling more, but eventually buyers came in and took the price above the resistance zone again. So, where did the most selling happen? Here, and some selling happened here as well. As soon as this selling was broken on the upside, what did it mean? It meant that the sellers who had entered here lost control of the situation, and in a way, these sellers got absorbed here. Some buyers also entered. The selling was absorbed. The resistance zone was broken on the downside yesterday, but again the market came back above it. The selling was absorbed and the market also moved above the resistance. We saw quite a few strong buyers. The market held its ground. Now, if you see, there is nothing much on the selling side. There was some selling of 7k, but that's very little. And if you look at the next candle, everything shifted to buyers from sellers. The market held at the same zone where the maximum selling had taken place, and that same selling zone was then broken. A resistance was created in the market along with the selling, but the market broke through it, and that same selling zone acted as a support zone during the pullback. For 3 candles, that is, for 15 minutes, the market was stuck quite well there. The market showed another upside movement from here. Okay, now it came back to the pullback again. This time, some selling was also seen during the pullback. Look at this, a selling attempt of 31k with a minimum delta of 51k, meaning at one point inside this candle there were so many sellers, but then some buyers came in, so by the time the candle closed, we got this much delta. This candle broke through all the selling zones. There was selling of 36k and 34k, right? The price came back to the support, but still, some selling was seen. Look at the movement of this candle. The market went above the selling zone. So it means the selling in this candle is not something that will bring the price down. After coming back to the pullback, it held at the opposition zone and again gave another movement to the upside. After that, there was no heavy volume seen in any of the candles. See here, the delta for each candle is around 2, 3, 4, or 5 every candle, every single candle. After 3 p.m., if there is a nifty candle on the order flow, the first candle and the candles after 3 p.m. usually have heavy buying or selling, so you should trade very carefully. After 3 p.m., it broke with selling, but still, the market closed right there. While breaking, see here, the LTP also closed at the same place. So today, what did we see in Nifty? It was sideways, but it was sideways after 12:30, 12 o'clock, 12:25, or even after 1 p.m. What happened here? The biggest selling happened here. It tried to break yesterday's opposition zone. Sellers came in here as well, but buyers came back and took the price above the selling zone and opposition zone, and there was good buying even further up. There was a good hold here after the strong selling that happened. Once it broke, just like the selling that happened here, resistance was created, then this same resistance turned into support. There was a strong hold. The upside movement came on the pullback, but some selling was seen. As soon as these candles broke the selling zone, we saw another movement on the upside. After that, Nifty was completely sideways today. This was a quick analysis of Nifty for today. Now, whatever questions you all have, please unmute yourself and ask.